American Psycho opens with a visual misdirection. What appears to be blood dripping onto a white surface, streaks of red twisting and pooling, suddenly reveals itself as raspberry coulis on an elaborately plated dish. A knife cuts aggressively into meat. The camera lingers on the food with the same intensity that it will later bring to violence. It's a perfect metaphor for the entire film. Appearances are deceiving, and what looks like one thing on the surface is actually something else entirely. Just like Patrick Bateman himself.
Fucking ugly bitch!
But the film truly establishes its protagonist through another iconic sequence, the morning routine. Bateman's apartment is sterile, predominantly black and white, with minimal furniture. There's no clutter, no personality, no warmth. Then we hear his voice.
I live in the American Gardens building on West 81st Street, on the 11th floor. My name is Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old.
Notice what he tells us first. The address comes before the name. The apartment, the floor number, the location, these define him more than his identity ever could. This is a film about a man so consumed by the performance of perfection that he's forgotten there was ever supposed to be a person underneath. Watch how Bateman moves through his morning routine. Every product is described in excruciating detail. Every step is performed with mechanical precision. There's a specific kind of tired that comes from being perpetually on, from never being able to drop the mask, not even when you're alone. Every interaction Bateman has is performed.
You lucky Jew bastard.
Jesus, McDermott, what does that have to do with anything?
Every emotion is simulated.
Because I want to fit in.
Every opinion is rehearsed.
And slow down the nuclear arms race, stop terrorism.
The film includes 3 scenes where Bateman delivers elaborate critiques of Phil Collins, Huey Lewis and the News, and Whitney Houston.
You own a Whitney Houston CD.
All spoken while preparing people for murder. He describes their evolution as artists, their commercial appeal, the composition of their work. But does he actually feel anything about this music? It doesn't matter. The opinion isn't real. It's just another part of the performance. Because to have real preferences, to care about something that isn't pre-approved by his social class, would require actually being someone. And caring, that causes stress. And stress causes wrinkles, which Patrick can't have. The business card scene is American Psycho's most famous moment. 4 executives sit around a conference table, pulling out their business cards with the gravitas of knights drawing swords. Patrick's card is bone-colored with a typeface called Silly and Rail. David Van Patten has an eggshell card with Romalian type. Timothy Bryce presents his next.
Raised lettering, pale nimbus, white.
And then Paul Allen produces his card.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
This scene works because all 4 men have essentially the same job. They're all vice presidents, with virtually identical business cards. The differences are microscopic, unnoticeable to anyone who isn't obsessed with surface-level distinctions. But in Bateman's world, these microscopic differences are everything. Because when everyone is interchangeable, when everyone wears the same suits and eats at the same restaurants, the cardstock and the font are the only things separating you from complete irrelevance. And here's the perfect irony. Throughout the film, people constantly mistake Bateman for other people.
Marcus!
Burning the midnight oil, Mr. Smith?
By the way, Davis, how's Cynthia?
Because Patrick Bateman, whoever he actually was, disappeared long ago. What remains is pure performance, a perfectly maintained surface with nothing underneath. And maintaining that surface is absolutely exhausting.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
The film begins fairly realistically, but as it progresses, Heron pushes the narrative further and further over the line into subjective fantasy. The only time Patrick Bateman seems even remotely alive is when he's committing acts of extreme violence. The violence is significant for one reason. It's the only thing he does that isn't performed for an audience. It's the only space where the mask of civility drops completely, where he doesn't have to pretend to be human, to feel empathy, to follow social scripts. But even this becomes routine. By the film's climax, Bateman goes on a completely over-the-top killing spree, shooting cops, blowing up cars like something out of an action movie. That's so unfeasible it signals we've fully entered his subjective fantasy. Even murder becomes another performance. Bateman breaks down and calls his lawyer's voicemail, confessing everything.
Tonight, I just had to kill a lot of people! And,
It's raw, desperate, the closest thing to genuine emotion we see from him. And nobody believes him.
Bateman is such a dork.
His lawyer dismisses it as a joke. The confession gets waved away as impossible because the lawyer had dinner with Paul Allen in London after he supposedly died. But this is the perfect punchline to the film's entire premise. In a world where everyone is interchangeable, where identity itself is pure performance, even murder becomes impossible to prove. Bateman's crimes, whether they actually happened or existed only in his head, don't matter. Because Patrick Bateman himself doesn't matter.
My hopes for this country are as fervent today.
The film ends with a slow push into an extreme close-up of Bateman's eyes, while he tells us in voiceover that his confession meant nothing. American Psycho is often read as a satire of 1980s yuppie culture, and it is that. But it's also something more disturbing. It's a portrait of what happens when the performance of self becomes so total, so complete, that the self disappears entirely.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me.
Bateman doesn't maintain his appearance out of traditional vanity. Bateman maintains his appearance because the appearance is literally all he has left. The surface is everything because there is no depth. And here's what makes this film prophetic. We live in Patrick Bateman's world now. Think about it. We curate our surfaces obsessively. Instagram feeds that show perfect lives. LinkedIn profiles that describe perfect careers. Personal brands built on performed authenticity. We simulate emotions for social media. We recite opinions we don't really hold because they fit the image we're projecting.
Unless materialism can yell people.
We're all maintaining the mask. We're all terrified of what happens if people see what's underneath. And for many of us, the scariest part isn't that there's something terrible underneath. It's that there might not be anything there at all. The film has developed a strong cult following and presence in meme culture since the 2010s. Bateman's horrified expression looking at Paul Allen's card has become a popular meme format. The image of these executives has become shorthand for a type of shallow, probably incompetent, business pretentious executive. But the memes miss the point. In a world where appearances mean everything, no one could possibly suspect such a handsome, rich, well-groomed icon to be a killer.
I simply am not there.
I simply am not there, Bateman says. And as he sits among his peers, as he continues the performance, we realize the horrible truth. He never was. None of them are. The yuppies of 1980s Manhattan, the influencers of today. Everyone maintaining their appearance. Everyone performing their lives. All surface, no depth. And nobody notices the difference. But here's the thing American Psycho doesn't tell you. There is a way out. Patrick Bateman is trapped because he can't remember when he stopped being real. The person he was before Wall Street, before the business cards, before the obsessive routines, that person is completely erased. The film is a warning, not a roadmap. Here's what the film understands that we often forget. The people who genuinely matter aren't impressed by your carefully constructed image. They're not measuring your cardstock or counting your Instagram likes. Bateman's colleagues might not notice he's hollow inside, but that's because they're equally hollow. They recognize their own emptiness and mistake it for kinship. The real tragedy isn't that Bateman fooled everyone. It's that he surrounded himself with people incapable of seeing through the illusion. People who would never demand he be anything more than a well-groomed reflection of their own superficiality. You don't have to live like that. You can choose substance over image. You can let yourself be flawed, complex, occasionally a mess.
Stupid bitchy! Understand?
Because here's the secret Patrick Bateman never learned. Wrinkles mean you smiled. Imperfections mean you lived. Being seen, truly seen, flaws and all, beats being admired from a distance every single time.
Your compliment was sufficient, Lewis.
If this analysis changed how you see American Psycho or made you think about your own relationship with image versus reality, let me know in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns of films that hold up uncomfortable mirrors to who we pretend to be versus who we actually are, subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you want to support the channel, there's a Ko-fi link in the description. Thanks for watching.